Here, I swear, he completely spun an entire fictional video onto YouTube and then reacted to that shit in his mind. Like, it was playing in his head. It wasn't in front of his eyes, because what the fuck he's talking about isn't what the fuck happened. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, these jokes have nothing to do with the video. This isn't even a parody. This is just someone losing their mind. Okay, so hopefully this works pretty well. I'm trying to still get used to this microphone. It's been a minute since I've done any vocal videos. But hi everyone. So today I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a little while. So instead of giving some big explanation or something at the beginning, I'm just gonna start playing it and, you know, pause through as I go and give my thoughts. And then I might make some small edits. And I think the best thing for me to do would be to speed up the video, just because, you know, we have that feature now, so it'll help it to go by faster. Yeah, let's get started.
BuzzFeed is at it again with the 38th video they've made about having a period.
I'm on my period.
Do you period?
It's my period.
And at this point, I just think, guys, you maybe have well covered this topic. What is it, by the way, that is so fascinating about periods to BuzzFeed?
Well, it's like Let's Plays for them.
It's like Let's Play.
They're gonna do like 200.
That's a really good point. BuzzFeed on periods, part 275. This video is called "Man Sees His Girlfriend's Period Blood for the First Time." And the common thread throughout all these videos is kind of like, I'm a woman and I have a period and I'm not ashamed of it, which is good.
There's some sort of background noise, so I'm just gonna let that pass. I don't know what the fuck they're driving, but they're driving something in the background. It ended just as fast as it started, so I'm just going to continue now.
Good. And on one hand, I do recognize that it's fucked up that women have to buy feminine hygiene products. Like, that's just a cost that men don't have. But on the other hand, this is too far when you're walking around with, like, a dirty rag and being like, I'm a woman, I have a period, I am empowered, and I must be respected. It's like, it's gross. It's okay to be grossed out by a period. But can you imagine me walking out of the bathroom with a fat roll covered in shit and be like, I have pooped, I will not be ashamed, you will not silence me, I'm a proud diarrhea boy. Diarrhea boys, unite, part 38. All right, let's watch this shit.
I'm here to show.
Okay, so the idea that I'm getting from this video, because I don't know if they watched this video yet or not. So I don't know, but they're making it seem like maybe they've seen clips from the video already, but I'm assuming that this video is supposed to be some sort of motivational speech to women's periods, because that's how they're making it sound. As far as I can tell from the title, that's not what it's about, because it's just saying, it's the same thing like when they say, oh, Chinese people eat American food for the first time. They're not like, I am Chinese and I will be eating American food. Like, they're just doing it for, it's their fucking first time video. So that's what I thought it was based off of their title. But maybe he's seen it. I'm just curious as to if they're misinterpreting what the point of the video is, or if they actually seen the video and the title is misleading. But we'll find out in a second.
My boyfriend what a bloody pad looks like. I've had my period for about 11 years, and that's roughly 2,600 used menstrual products that I've had in my lifetime.
And how many do you estimate Steven has seen?
Steve has seen maybe 6, if I did a good job of hiding them.
Yeah, you should do a good job of hiding them. It's gross. It's a used bodily fluid product. It's blood, too, like on top of that.
Oh, yeah, it's disgusting.
It's gross. Yeah, you should do a good job of hiding it. I agree. Like, again, I don't leave shitty toilet paper out. If Ela's,
I would be upset if you left it out.
I was gonna say, if Ela's seen one dirty wipe of mine, then that's one too many.
That's an argument.
That's an argument.
Incoming.
My knowledge.
I'll just address that now since they brought that up. Okay, so it's like this comparison to shit. Everybody shits. You know, you shit in the toilet. A period isn't the same. You know, if you have a pad, you're not supposed to flush it down the toilet. You have to actually discard it in another way. So it's not the same thing. Men and women both shit. It goes in the toilet because you're sitting on the toilet. Periods don't work that way. If you're using a pad or a cup, you don't throw it in the toilet. So there's actually more effort that has to go into it. She never said anything about trying to hold it in the air, because he keeps mentioning that, but she hasn't said that. It seems like he's just blowing this video out of proportion because he's tired of talking about it or hearing people talk about it. And it seems like this video is kind of unnecessary. So what I mean by that is, women, there's no epidemic of women fucking bleeding in a pad and walking down the street saying, this is Where has that happened? This is as dumb as that John Tron video that I did where I mentioned, the guy talking about how Mexicans are walking down the street waving flags in the air. And it's actually white people who are doing that. It's the same thing here. There's no epidemic of women walking down the street holding pads in the air. So he made that up out of his own head. It's like you're getting angry at your own imagination. It just doesn't make any sense.
Knowledge of women's ovulation is pretty, I would consider it average for men.
Whenever I have my period, I definitely go in another room.
Good. Go in the other room when you have your period. Don't do it in the living room. That's not where I poop.
What does she even mean? Like, do what?
Yeah, go in the bathroom and do that. What's the alternative, BuzzFeed? Every month, women are forced to confine themselves to a prison cell, otherwise known as the bathroom. This horrible practice has to stop, and women need to be free to have their periods on the living room floor, where men poop. Just say no.
I just don't understand the point of this. They never said anything like that. All of this is a straw man. All of this right now is just a big straw man argument. They never made any of these claims or any of these statements. This is stuff that you made up yourself. You're literally arguing against nothing. No one said this. So I don't understand. What's the point of you saying this? She said she goes into the other room. She's not reading a script. They didn't tell her read this script. That's how she's communicating. Like, haven't you yourself or at least been around people who don't know how to say something, so they just say things that are unnecessary to communicate what they're trying to do? Like, that was her way of saying, so, I go into the bathroom. Like, how else, if you're trying to say that if I say, if someone says, how do you cook your ramen, then I will say, well, I go into the kitchen and I do blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just something that people say. They say, oh, I go into this room, and then they start explaining the answer to the question. That's a normal thing people do. And he's like, for years, women have been confined in the prison of the bathroom. She said something that people normally say. I go into such and such room, and then insert answering your question. That's just an unnecessary thing that everyone says.
Bathrooms. A message brought to you by BuzzFeed.
Even though it was brought to you by yourself. You made it up, not them.
In terms of the bloody side of things, I try to hide it from him most of the time. I think it's just been ingrained in my system that it's an embarrassing thing to have your period.
They keep using this word hide.
Try to hide it from him most of the time.
I don't consider...
You also use the word hide. You said, yeah, you need to hide that shit.
Yeah, you should do a good job of hiding them. It's gross. Yeah, you should do a good job of hiding it.
So you're using it too.
For wiping my shitty toilet paper hiding. Like, again, they're hamming up this, shame thing. It's not hiding, it's gross. I will never hide my toilet paper, Hila. I'm a proud diarrhea boy.
What?
I share my toilet paper.
Again, no one does that. What other word do you want people to use? It's the woman speaking. Okay, twice now, she said something and he's attacking BuzzFeed for it. And I personally can't stand BuzzFeed, just like a lot of other people. But, that doesn't mean that I'm just gonna accuse them of shit that they're not doing. She's the one who said that she feels like she has to hide it because that's how she feels. I'm pretty sure that Ela feels the same way. Most women feel like they have to hide their period. That's the word that we use because that's how people treat you when you have a period. Like it's something disgusting. You yourself said, yeah, hide that shit. So that's where it comes from. People basically telling you or insinuating that you need to hide it. The fact that no one feels comfortable about talking about it. It lets you know, yeah, maybe I need to hide it. And then the other statement that she made, she said that, I'm going to go into the other room. And then he attacks BuzzFeed for that too. So twice now, he's attacked BuzzFeed for something that she said on her own, because that's just how she's communicating. And now here he is making the fucking shit joke that no one does. No one does that.
Hiding, it's gross. I will never hide my toilet paper, Hila. I'm a proud diarrhea boy.
What?
I share my toilet paper freely to empower me and those like me.
I'm trying to think because when you're young, you do feel like, ooh, period. You can't talk.
That's exactly. Like I said, she probably feels the same way too. And she's trying to understand where the girl's coming from. Just like with these two faces, you can talk about I think they're called micro expressions, not microaggression, micro expressions. With this guy, he's just the way that he's not connecting with it at all. He's not really trying to understand where she's coming from. He has one stance that he's taking on this, and it's so far it seems ridiculous. With her, she's trying to understand because she is a woman. She deals with the same problem. And it would make sense if she disagrees with him at least a little bit.
Never
So
hide
I'll give it a little head start.
my toilet paper, Hila. I'm a
Gross.
proud diarrhea boy.
What?
I share my toilet paper freely to empower me
bad.
and those like me.
I'm trying to think, cause like when you're young, you do feel like, ooh, period. Like that's you can't talk about it to anyone. Like it seems like such a weird thing you have to hide. So I know where they're coming from.
Well,
But
you know what, man?
She just said, I know where they're coming from. Just a minute ago, he's like, oh, I don't know why they keep using these words and blah, 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 blah. And here she is saying, I know where they're coming from. I get where they're coming from, too. You don't even have to be a woman to understand where they're coming from. You just need to be objective.
Have that women don't.
What?
Oh, damn it. I went to the beginning.
BuzzFeed is at it again.
Menstrual products that I've had.
You can't talk about it to anyone. Like it seems like such a weird thing you have to hide. So I know where they're coming from.
So I clicked control and left, which sends it to the beginning by accident, but I put it back.
Like such a weird thing you have to hide. So I know where they're coming from.
Well, you know what men have that women don't?
What?
Jizz.
So he basically takes a logical point that she made and he just ends it with a joke. Like, instead of actually having a conversation about it, he's just like, well, men have jizz. Okay, women have jizz too, if you want to call it cum or whatever. Women also relieve something when they fucking orgasm. Both men and women have it. And furthermore, when guys, you know, haven't you ever seen a comedian like Dave Chappelle, for example, talking about like women sucking cum out of their dick? Guys want girls to drink it. Since you want to talk about how disgusting it is, like there's guys who want, maybe not all of them, but there's guys who want that. Guys also swallow the fluids that are coming out of a woman's, you know, vagina when they're going down on her. So that's a terrible comparison, because not only do women have some sort of equivalent to jizz, since both people come and something comes out when they come, but also both sexes want the other sex to drink it. So that's just a terrible, that was just a terrible example. And once again, just to reiterate, she was saying something serious and actually understanding them, and he didn't even acknowledge it because, like I said, he's not trying to understand. He has one standpoint, he has one stance, and he's not veering from it at all. And he just cuts in and ends it with a shit joke that didn't even make sense.
It's also gross and disgusting. I'm talking about jizz. So, like, where's our fucking jizz empowerment video?
I mean, I grew up with one sister.
Why would you need a jizz empowerment video? And guys talk about jizz all the time. Again, just think of like your top 10 comedians who swear. And 9 out of 10 of them talk about cum. Like, dead serious. I could just name a few. D.L. Hughley, Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams. Like, just random ones I can think of off the top of my head who's talked about cum before. And furthermore, D.L. Hughley made a joke about how guys will go down on girls and there will be tissue stuck in the pubic hair. He said sex is fucking disgusting. He said, is there a tissue down there? And talked about how men don't care. So men talk about things that are much more disgusting, since you want to talk about going to the bathroom, like the tissue probably has pee in it, since it's tissue, it's on your vagina, and you're still putting your face down there. Which furthermore shows that there's clearly a stigma with periods if you're willing to put your mouth on a place where women pee out of, like there's pee on there. When girls go to the bathroom, your pee kind of runs down and hits everything. You have to wipe it off. They're not always showering right after they pee, and you're going to put your mouth on that. You know, if a girl gives a guy a blowjob and he peed earlier, you're putting your mouth on that. But when it comes to talking about periods, that's something that's so disgusting. There is a stigma. And your own wife said it herself that she's felt ashamed about it. So I really don't get the point of this video so far. But there's 2/3 left, so let's see if it changes as we go on.
But my sister was pretty good at kind of hiding that part of her.
I think I'm probably more embarrassed for him to see it than he's gonna be.
For sanitary reasons, she was asked to place it in a sealed bag. Guys, it's not, yeah, it's blood. Like, again, guys, they're making it sound like because of the...
They might be saying that why they put it in a bag in case people are wondering. Because when you look at the fucking commercials, people have the pads in their hand and they use blue liquid because red is so disgusting. And they put the blue liquid on the pad. It's not in a sealed bag though. So maybe they just said it to explain it. And even if they did say it, you know, in some sort of way to force a point, even if they are forcing, because I feel like he's about to talk about how they're forcing a point of like, you know, how shameful periods are in some sort of way. Even if the topic was about accepting the idea of talking about periods, that is a genuine topic to make. That, like, there is a stigma, which I've already talked about in this video. So even if he's about to say what I think he's about to say, and if that was the whole point of them mentioning the plastic bag, they would have a right to do so because there is a stigma about it. So they're like, well, just so you know, it's in a plastic bag. But let's see what he says. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
Like, again, guys, they're making it sound like because of the way society is, she was asked to put her bloody pad in a bag. No.
Here we go.
You don't know why they said it. You really don't. And he's visibly frustrated.
Like, again.
He's visibly frustrated. He's visibly frustrated, and I haven't seen their other period videos, just like I haven't seen this one. If I saw this fucking video, like, somehow somebody shared it to me or something, I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever, and move on. But he's visibly frustrated by it. These are two completely different emotions. Nowhere in this video have I seen her get so annoyed by it. She's just kind of like agreeing with him, be like, yeah, it's disgusting, yeah. But then she also mentioned earlier, yeah, I felt like I had to hide it. So I wonder if she's, like, holding in her own opinion. She's not a very vocal person, at least not on YouTube. I hit my wall against this wood. But she's not a very vocal person. It's not a secret. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Some people don't like to speak. He talks all the time about how she kind of wants to hide her face off of the screen slowly. And she doesn't speak with a lot of confidence. Like, there's not a lot of bass in her voice or confidence whatsoever when she talks. So it's pretty reasonable to assume that she might just be, like, kind of agreeing with him and not saying exactly how she feels. Again, most people who feel ashamed to talk about something get kind of mealy-mouthed when it comes to sharing their own opinion. And it's kind of what she's doing here. But one person is visibly fucking afraid. I mean, one person here is visibly fucking frustrated, not afraid. And the other person is just like, whatever. Which is how I would look at the video. Just like how I look at all their food videos. It's like, okay, another food video.
Again, guys, they're making it sound like because of the way society is, she was asked to put her bloody pad in a bag. No.
Here we go. All right. This is it?
That's it. That's a light day.
Oh God. Oh my God. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Come on. Okay. I mean,
You probably dissected worse.
Well, if you're already gonna show it and make such a big deal out of it, why show it on, like, the lightest day possible?
Go big.
Yeah.
Let's get some real shit.
I'm pretty sure that to address both of them, if you're going to show it, it makes sense to show it on a light day. If you take any situation that has a stigma and you're trying to get rid of that stigma, you don't just go balls to the wall with it. You have to slowly introduce people into it. Or if you go balls to the wall, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work unless you make a really amazing point. That's the way that people have worked all throughout history. History repeats itself. People are kind of easy to figure out. You don't just shove something in someone's face when you want to change their mind. Most of the time, it doesn't work that way. So it makes perfect sense. And I'm pretty sure I'm willing to bet. You know what? Yeah, actually, let me say that first. I'll bet any amount of money that if we could have went back in time and they had a full pad of blood, he would be even more disgusted, like, oh God, why'd you have to go on the last day or on the heaviest day? Because if you don't remember, he just walked around and said, I'm a diarrhea boy, I'm a proud diarrhea boy. So that's the reaction he would have had. He would have been as disgusted as his example with that if somebody had a full pad of blood. Like, oh, you're just going to show it all out? Because, come on, he's already this upset with that smallest amount, and he exaggerated it to the point as if people were walking around shoving their pads down the streets and shit, when none of that happened. So imagine if they actually had a full pad of blood. He'll be even more disgusted. Furthering the point of when you want to change someone's mind on something when it comes to a stigma, you got to ease people into the right direction. So this is just, again, trying to complain at every single second that you can because you're so annoyed by the video. Like what I'm doing, but I'm rightfully annoyed here. This is fucking stupid. So far, I haven't seen anything legitimate in this video. I haven't seen anything. Everything is not black and white. Sometimes it's okay if you want to constantly pause something or comment on every little detail when it's really that ridiculous. But sometimes it's not okay. Like, sometimes you do sound stupid. So please don't give me that shit saying, but you paused throughout the video, because the world is nuanced and everything's not the same. He's not making sense. They didn't do any of the stuff he accused them of. So yes, he is complaining about every little thing unjustly. What I'm saying, I can actually back it up with shit that doesn't make sense in this video. They can't.
Because that's even worse, because
At least not so far.
show it on like the lightest day possible.
Go big.
Yeah.
Let's get some real shit.
Because that's even worse, because it makes some girls have it really bad. Or like you can have a lot. They're gonna make those girls feel like it's not normal.
Wow, they're hurting the movement. You're right.
I don't understand how it's going to make girls feel like that's not normal. She literally said that's a light day. So you do understand that she could also have that's her lightest day. And it's little spots of blood all over that thing. Do you have any idea what her heaviest day is like? Since we're talking about periods, I have a really heavy period, but my lightest day looks similar to hers. So I don't feel like I'm being left out because you didn't show how heavy my period is there. So I'm bleeding too much. No, that's not how that works. There's people with all sorts of... I spoke to a gynecologist who said that 1 out of 3 women that he would see every day will have some sort of hormonal imbalance. Because I had to see him about an issue that I had where I was bleeding too much. I was literally bleeding to death. So I can definitely speak for women on the heavier side for sure. For one, there's always going to be somebody who feels left out no matter what. So don't give me that shit about, well, I feel left out. There's always going to be someone who feels left out. But I'm pretty sure that you don't have it heavier than I've had it in the past, giving that, or else you'd be dead at that point. You'd just be dead. So that's not a good argument to make. Again, her period could be heavy. That's her lightest day. So I don't understand how that's going to leave someone out. And again, if you want to get rid of a stigma, you have to slowly introduce people into it. So this is another stupid point. I'm just waiting for something that sounds smart. I think they made a joke at the beginning that was kind of funny. I think it was Ela. She said something about like their Let's Plays. That joke. That's the only thing that I like so far in this video. It was just a funny comparison. But at the same time, their Let's Plays is every topic that they fucking do. You know, their couples videos and the videos that they do for black people, the videos that they do for gay people, the fucking food videos like I mentioned before. They have Let's Plays for every damn title. So that's why I didn't really laugh, because it was an okay joke. Everything else though here is kind of shit.
They gave this like dainty little last day period.
Yeah, like here's a little cute one. I'm not gonna show you the...
It's not her last day period. That was her on a light day. Not a dainty little... whatever.
really gross one.
I know someone would have really heavy ones that period.
Those girls feel like it's not normal.
Wow, they're hurting the movement. You're right. They gave this like dainty little last day period.
Yeah, like here's a little cute one. I'm not gonna show you the really gross one.
I know someone would have really heavy ones that can be like debilitating. I mean, how bad does it get, just for educational purposes?
Well, just so you know, I told you how bad it can get, but when it gets that bad, you need to see a doctor for anybody who has those issues. I literally almost bled to death, and that's what my gynecologist told me. My stuff is back to normal now, but I have a really heavy period. I've talked to other gynecologists who talk about how some women have to change their underwear twice a day. You know, women, there's all sorts of different types of women. Some women have thick discharge. Women are, like, all this stuff is different. And if you don't get rid of the stigma, people can't talk about it. If I tried to talk about this in almost any other setting, even in this setting, some people might be like, oh my God, it's disgusting. Oh my God. And then they'll want to, like, throw up and shit. But I just don't care. I'm just at a point in my life where I really don't give a fuck. You don't have to deal with it. I don't see why you're so fucking disgusted. It's always the guys who keep fucking complaining about something that they don't have to deal with. But they get to joke about their fucking prostate 24/7. Jesus Christ.
You could feel that.
That whole thing is filled. See, that would be fascinating. His reaction would be way different and way more genuine and interesting than this cute little, like...
I mean...
Feminism is like a McDonald's hamburger. I just like to package it up and sell it on BuzzFeed.
Okay, so I don't see them mentioning feminism, but this is another moment where, you know, people want to just randomly bring up feminism to attack it when they didn't say anything about feminism, or at least they didn't show that part. So again, he's again making up arguments. They didn't say, oh, look at they didn't do any of that. All this is stuff that he's making up. Like, he's making all this stuff up. They didn't do any of that. And that's why it's fucking, like, I haven't seen anything that makes any sense in this video except for the things that he's created out of his own imagination, which doesn't make sense because he's accusing them of thinking it. If they actually said those things, maybe you'd have an argument, but they're not doing any of the stuff you're accusing them of. So this whole video is wasted.
Like, I want to see some real shit. I want to see a real conversation.
Yeah.
Let's see the blood flow, boy.
If you want to see, honestly, Ethan, if you want to see a real conversation, then why would you stop your wife from making a real point that could actually help women and make a joke about jizz? If you honestly want to see a real conversation, why would you do that? You don't want to see a conversation. You just want to bitch and complain about something that you don't even have to deal with.
I'm very relieved that Steve's handled it so maturely.
How do you feel about how I've handled this video so far, Elo?
I'm very relieved that you didn't like completely lose your shit when you saw that completely empty pad.
Thank you.
I'm very proud.
The thing about BuzzFeed's approach to feminism is like they're like the McDonald's of feminism. Like there's nothing genuine left here. You don't need to show your bloody rags to your boyfriend to be empowered. You don't. It's okay to be.
Why would you say that? You don't know what women need. Like, she said it herself. She feels like it's something that's disgusting. Your wife said it herself, that she felt like her period is something that's disgusting, and she still probably does. I wouldn't be shocked if she does. So doesn't it sound completely reasonable that if you're worried about how someone might react to something like that, if you show it to them and they don't care, it makes you relieved? Like, didn't you see how she was sitting all, like, when you look at physiognomy and stuff like that, you see how, in kinesics, I believe is the word that I meant to use, she looks really tense, she's licking her lips, she's really nervous. She said herself that she tries to hide it from him as best as she can. They're all using the word hide because that's the word that you would fucking think of in this situation. If you have a better suggestion, give it. You didn't give it because you don't have one. So it would make sense for if he says, oh, well, I don't care about it. That would be relieving. It would be relieving for me if I felt like that, you know, if I still felt like it was something that was so horrible. The way that I am now, it's like, if anyone doesn't like something, or if they're disgusted by something that I'm not disgusted by, or something that doesn't affect them but it's affecting me, why do you fucking care? It's not gonna bother me if you say, oh, that's so fucking disgusting. Oh, you're so disgusting. Because it has nothing to do with you. If you don't like it, go the fuck away. If you don't like it, then go away. If you're gonna sit here and watch the video, then clearly you want to see it for some fucking reason. If it's really that much of an issue, why even watch it? You're only making it an issue because you choose to. They didn't do anything. It would be different if they actually did the stuff he's accusing them of. But they didn't do any of the stuff you're accusing them of. You're actually doing the shit I'm accusing you of. You're doing it right here. There's proof. Everything that you accuse them of, you made up. So, back to my point, it would make perfect sense if you show something to someone where you're afraid that they're ashamed of it, and they tell you that they're not. That would feel empowering. Don't tell someone what they need to feel empowered. I know for a fact, no matter what it is I'm ashamed of, if I had, you know, eczema in a certain place, or if I had, you know, if I was like those women who had like the thick discharge that I mentioned earlier, because I've seen things where women talk about how, you know, I have to wear a panty liner. And they talk about how their boyfriend is really disgusted by it. It turns them off in bed. And it makes them feel ashamed. It's like, okay, you don't need to date that person. You can find someone else who's not disgusted by it. Do you want her to wear a fucking panty liner? Or do you want there to be thick discharge soaking in her underwear and letting her walk around smelling like disgusting fish all the time? You know, so it's like, you could find someone better. That's why these people bring this stuff up. It is definitely empowering for someone who you care about and cares about you to not be disgusted by something that you can't control. Like if you had eczema on your face and it didn't bother someone. If you had a burn. If you had a 3rd-degree burn scar on your face, which some people do, or really big birthmarks on your face, and your significant other isn't bothered by it at all, that is definitely empowering. Not everyone needs to be empowered by that. I would prefer for people to appreciate themselves for who they are and not care about what other people think of them. That's the route that you should go. But our brains are very complicated and they're hard to control. So if you need someone else's approval for something and you can actually get that, which is sometimes really hard to find, that's a really good thing. But he's not trying to make that point here. He's not speaking in that way at all, saying you should, you know, be completely confident in who you are, don't care about what others think of you. He sat here already and said, yeah, hide that shit. It's fucking disgusting. It's okay to be ashamed of a woman's period or whatever. when it doesn't fucking affect him. So he's not making that point. But if he did, I would actually give him points for that. If he tried to encourage people to believe in themselves and not care what others think.
Grossed out by that. It's gross. It's a bodily function. All bodily functions are gross. They make McDonald'sification like important big time.
Okay, so again, not all bodily. Do you know how many bodily... I don't even know why I'm trying to get fucking meta with this shit. But there's a lot of bodily functions and people don't find them all disgusting. But the ones that you're thinking of, you're clearly thinking of specific ones.
Topics into this easy to consume.
Haven't you ever seen guys like talk about like, this is in every TV show ever, every fucking comedian, like guys who just sit around and, you know, like at, who are playing cards. Like I've been around all sorts of guys who will talk about, oh yeah, like women when they're like working out and they're all like sweaty. That's bodily fluid that's excrementing from your body. And some people will find that disgusting and some guys get turned on seeing sweaty women. So, you know, there's one example. Now I'm just going to move on.
BuzzFeed is a fast food chain
of content.
Yeah.
That's right. So they take something like feminism or important issues and they just turn it into these stupid, vapid, empty things that really trivialize it. And then it just turns out that it makes everyone hate it and not take it seriously.
I'm pretty sure that the thing that makes people hate this type of stuff more is the fact that they're looking for any excuse to hate it. And at that point, that's why I look at people like this, and that's why I mentioned in my last video that I'm not going to sit here and spend my life trying to convince people who don't want to be convinced. I'm just not. It's just, other people can do that, but I just don't care. This video is just for people who, you know, might want to hear an opinion that they respect more than this shit, or maybe it'll help them vocalize their own opinions. You know, maybe they need some words of encouragement, and this is encouraging for them. But this video is not for people who think that periods are disgusting and nothing can change their mind. I just don't care. Good for you. You can go back to your corner and go watch your fucking videos. I don't care. You could click away from this one if you really have that much of a problem. It's not that big of a deal.
Cheap, easily manufactured. There's 38 versions of videos about periods.
It's not even good for you, just like fast food.
It's not good for you.
It's bad.
Dude,
It's bad for
McDonald'sification. Quote me on that. Let it be known. But on the other hand, they get so many views. And I think that maybe there's something here for us to explore.
You do?
Because on one hand, I just want views and money, and I don't really care about the consequence of the stuff I'm making.
You want to Carl Jr.ification there?
Carl's Jr.ification? Hell yeah. I've got...
See, it's, like when he's talking about this whole fast food thing, they do, again, they do all these fucking, the videos that I always think of whenever I think of BuzzFeed are those food videos. Those are videos that I see so much. I'd actually like to see a comparison if like BuzzFeed has way more food videos than period videos, because I'm willing to bet that they do. But they have so many. Nobody's saying you're ruining the movement of food. Like, nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying you're ruining fast food chains by showing all this fast food. You're ruining different cultures by showing one person from one culture eat another food from another culture, and one person from this country go to this country. No one's saying that, but you're only saying it about something that you already have an issue with. Because again, these are the type of people right here. These are the type of people who are always looking for any excuse to argue against something that they don't like. If you don't like something, you're going to argue against it in any single fucking way that you can. And it just makes the whole thing utter shit. Because again, if this was something about food, if this was about the couples dating, I think they did one on like couples try to kill a spider and, you know, couples do this and that. I think he was like seeing their series. Some people have. Nobody's saying, oh, you're ruining the idea of couples for everyone. No one's saying that because no one has a stigma against couples. No one has an issue against that. But people have issues against feminism. People have issues against periods. People have issues against black people. People have issues against gay people and anything else you can think of. So when it comes to stuff like that, now if BuzzFeed makes a bunch of videos on it, people are going to say, well, you're talking about it too much now. That's basically what he's saying. You're talking about it too much. You're using every chance you can get to talk about it. If it wasn't a fucking stigma, you wouldn't care about it. You really wouldn't care. This is something that you already have an issue with, and you're trying to find more reasons to have an issue with it, and so far you've come up with nothing. You've only come up with the fucking shit out of your own imagination. So maybe you should go back in there and work out whatever issues you have in your own brain, but everything you've accused them of, they haven't been doing.
Hey, Dale, here. I think it's gonna be fascinating.
Isn't that fascinating? If you can just make up a whole big issue out of your own mind and project it onto something else, like, that's truly fucking fascinating, man.
This is gonna be dope. So I'm here today to show my wife what a pair of dirty, soiled adult diapers look like. So I've been shitting in my pants for about 15 years. Yeah, I wear these diapers everywhere I go. I have a really bad diet, and a lot of times I can't make the effort to run to the bathroom, and it's a lot easier and more convenient for me just to shit in my pants.
I didn't know that was a thing. Do men usually do that?
Okay, so he's saying it's very... That doesn't even make... Why is he saying that? It's very convenient for me to just shit in my pants. Women aren't just bleeding in their underwear. Like, they're bleeding in pads. They're using tampons. Like, they're... And some women do use diapers because they're constantly leaking out something they can't control. That's what the fuck a diaper's for. Now he's saying, I choose to relieve these bodily fluids in this thing that I don't need to use. Just because I feel like it. What kind of comparison is that? So just going to cut in around this point in the video somewhere to make a point that I forgot to make. I figured out, as I watched it, why he was making the joke of, I just choose to poop in a diaper. At one point, he mentions that it's not because he has a medical condition. He's like, I don't have a medical condition or anything. I'm just pooping in it just to poop in it. So this is one of those moments where this is someone who's arguing with themselves. 9 times out of 10 when someone's arguing with themselves, it's because they're realizing that their point is utter shit. Sometimes, rarely, that 1 out of 10, someone will argue with themselves because they're not sure how to phrase something, but it doesn't take a lot to be able to deduce when somebody doesn't know what they're talking about and when they do. So, in this situation, he keeps making the point, I'm pooping in my underwear. He kept wanting to compare periods to poop. But he realizes that some people do have conditions where they can't help but poop, and that shouldn't be shamed. So he's like, I can't really say that. So to fix that, I'll say I don't have a medical condition and I choose to poop in the diaper. But again, that has absolutely nothing to do with a period. You saying I choose to poop in this diaper and now people are shaming me for it has nothing to do with periods whatsoever. So you tried to make a point. You tried to make a comparison of periods to poop. And then you recognize that you can't really make that comparison because some people do have uncontrollable bodily functions, just like with the period, where they shouldn't be shamed for it because they can't do anything about it. That's the whole reason why shaming someone for their period or having the stigma when the very word is mentioned is utterly ridiculous. At least with the diaper thing, there is a smell. It would make sense if someone doesn't want to be around it. But people are getting just as frustrated, if not more frustrated and less understanding by just hearing the word period. How many times do you see someone just hear someone bring up the word period and they're just like, do you really have to talk about that? It's just a word, for God's sake. So here he realized that that was a bad point to make and to try to fix his shit comparison without, instead just doing a little bit more thinking and thinking of a better comparison, or better yet, realizing that he can't because there isn't a good comparison whatsoever. He decided to go with it anyway and do a simple quick fix by saying, I'm choosing to poop in my diaper and it's not a medical condition. And so now she's going to shame me for it, rightfully so. And it just gets further and further away from whatever fucking point he's trying to make. So I'm going to go back to this video, but I'll also say here that I think I'm going to upload this in another version of this because I'm starting to think that to really get my point across, I wanted to get this stuff out and I want to keep this stuff because there's things that I said that I just want to leave it as is. But I think I might make a more edited video where I show some clips of the type of shit that I'm talking about so you can really see how ridiculous this all is. But I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, so fair warning here. Let's go back to the video.
Some men do shit in their pants.
Let me back up because I know some people have issues with people who pause constantly. I'll have to get into the habit of giving you a head start, I guess.
15 years. Yeah, I wear these diapers everywhere I go. I have a really bad diet, and a lot of times I can't make the effort to run to the bathroom, and it's a lot easier and more convenient for me just to shit in my pants.
I didn't know that was a thing. Do men usually do that?
Some men do shit in their pants.
I didn't know men do that. That's pretty disturbing.
Do you feel bad saying that you're disgusted? Don't you want to empower him?
No, I don't want to empower him to keep doing that. It's...
Okay, did they ask the guy that question? Because I don't remember them saying... I remember them asking him how he... they didn't say anything about, do you want to empower her? They never mentioned that to the guy.
I think you should be ashamed. I don't think you should be using these things. It's for medical condition.
That's pretty racist.
I'm pretty disturbed actually knowing that Ethan was doing that.
So usually I'll sit in my feces for a couple of hours and people will look around like, who farted, you know? But then they'll slowly realize that the smell isn't going away. And I think they just assume that somebody there has a medical condition and they don't want to be rude. But I don't have any conditions at all. I just prefer to shit in my pants than using the bathroom. After I take a shower, I'll take the dirty
Okay, so this is something he's doing on purpose. It's not like he just, did this off the cuff and maybe didn't edit it out. He's literally saying, I choose to shit in a diaper for no reason whatsoever, and people are shaming me for it. What does that have to do with that has nothing, oh my God. That shit was so painful, it somehow reached the maximum level and made my migraine go away. I don't understand how the fuck that works, but somehow I guess it went full circle. Oh my God, this is so... You've spun your whole own world of ideas out of something that had nothing to do with what you're talking about. It's insane.
diaper, and we live on a hillside, so usually I'll just chuck it off the balcony onto the hillside. And Hila hasn't found them so far, but there must be hundreds of them out there. It's always been ingrained to me that it's something I should be ashamed or embarrassed.
So that's supposed to be a parody or a spoof or an exaggeration of the girl saying that she's taking, she gets up and goes to the bathroom. It's so horrible. You know how he wants to keep making the joke oh, if you say one bad thing, people want to put you in jail. That's why they keep doing that, even though no one did that in the video in the first place. The truth is, he's doing that. Because she said one thing, and he's he's doing the equivalent of his imprisonment of her. She said, I get up and go to the bathroom. And he's made a whole thing out of it, shaming her for making that one statement that people do all the time. I swear to God, people do it all the time. He's done it. Everyone does that. Everyone says, well, I went into this room and then answer your question there. Everyone does that. And he's made an entire big deal out of it for no fucking reason. And again, what does that have to do with the joke? The fact that she said, oh, I got up and went into the bathroom. I don't see how that has anything, how do you take that and turn it into this?
After I take a shower, I'll take the dirty diaper, and we live on a hillside, so usually I'll just chuck it off the balcony onto the hillside. And Hila hasn't found them so far, but there must be hundreds of them.
And the fact that she said, oh, I try to hide it from him. How do you turn that statement, which is what everyone says hide it. He himself said hide it. Hila, I was going to say Fila. Hila says that she feels like it was shameful and she had to hide it. Everyone said, that's just something that everyone says. It's if people say that they feel how black people say that they felt like they weren't allowed to have nappy hair. No one's making them use the word allowed or, it's shameful to have nappy hair, but that's just what... So I just don't understand, that's how people talk. This is how human beings talk, and you're actually getting visibly upset by it over something that small. Remember the faces? He was visibly upset for no fucking reason. Get over it.
Out there. It's always been ingrained to me that it's something I should be ashamed or embarrassed by, so I'm definitely pretty nervous to share this with Hila.
And here he says, it's always something I feel like, I was ingrained to believe I should be ashamed by or embarrassed by. But that's you choosing to poop in a diaper when you don't need to. That's it, because you're too lazy to go to the bathroom. It's if you say, oh, I just purposefully throw up on my shirt and people shame me for that for no reason because I don't feel like throwing up in the trash can or just keeping my food down. I don't even need to throw up. I just put my finger down my throat and puke. I don't know. I just do it because I'm not even bulimic. I just do it for no fucking reason whatsoever because I'm too lazy to keep my food down. It makes no sense why you would want to be too lazy to keep your food down. It's it makes no sense why you would be too lazy to sit and poop in your pants. That shit, have you ever been a kid and peed on yourself? That stuff is itchy. It irritates your skin. Nobody will be too lazy to get up and go to the bathroom. It's how you wouldn't be too lazy to keep your food down. And of course people would shame you for it because why the fuck are you doing it in the first place? It's an inconvenience for you. It's an inconvenience for everyone. It's not healthy. I'm pretty sure a doctor will tell you that shit'll bother your skin. There's no reason for you to do it. Somebody should tell you to go to the fucking bathroom. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. Like, can't people get diseases like those crazy cat ladies who have the cats peeing all over the house? Don't they get like pneumonia or ammonia or whichever one it is? Don't they get that fucking illness from sniffing that shit? Like, yes, it's something that you shouldn't be doing for good reason. That's not the same as having a fucking period. And here we go with the fucking trigger warning. Let's read the damn trigger warning. Let's read the fucking trigger warning. A trigger warning. The following footage contains scenes of blatant racism and misandry. Okay, let's see.
Okay, so this is a pretty light day. Try not to freak out, okay?
What?
But this is who I am, so this is just generally...
Is this shit on your hands right now?
Yeah, there's usually some, like, it's hard to get it all in the bag because it's pretty runny most days.
What's the point of the bag? It's outside of the bag.
So the whole point of his trigger warning was basically to, you know, again, like, make the damn parody of trigger warnings like everyone does. It's not a clever joke at all. Like, professional comedians, dead or alive, would bury themselves under the dirt and roll over in their fucking grave over this shit. These are the laziest jokes you can make. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Get it? It's a trigger warning. Get it? Trigger warning. So he does that. He mentions feminism. Like I guess that's like the most basic shit comedy that you can come up with. Just say the word feminism. Say the word trigger warning and make it obvious that you're not being serious about it. And it's all of a sudden so funny. Are people really laughing at this shit? It's as dumb as that damn joke that Avalon, whatever the fuck his name was, made about the damn human beings. Like, does anyone find this funny? This is stupid. So what you're telling me is all I have to do is say the word trigger warning and I'll get a laugh out of you? Since you want to talk about overusing a fucking topic of conversation, could you stop that first? It's just annoying. Like, it honestly annoys me when I see people make the joke, "Are you triggered?" It's the laziest joke in all of mankind. It's so fucking dumb. It wasn't funny the first time. It's they somehow managed to top and find a way to make a joke that's even more annoying and more stupid and more useless than I've fallen and I can't get up.
I can smell it right now.
Not all of it. Not all of it's outside the bag.
This is...
It doesn't smell that bad.
This is
Sorry.
really gross.
Just
No,
smell it.
I'm
It's
not
not that
smelling
bad.
it. No. This is really gross, Ethan. I don't know if I can be with you after this shit.
Hila, it's just a little shit in a bag.
It's actually a lot of shit.
And it actually was a little bit of period in the bag. There was none on her hands. Like, I'm not making this point saying that I'm taking his joke seriously. Because some people are too fucking stupid to understand what I'm trying to say here. I don't know how, but, you know, I know some people are just going to be like, it was just a joke. The point that I'm making is, what is the joke? How do you take that video and turn it into this? When people make a parody of something, if you watch Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, the jokes that they make somehow have some sort of fucking relevance to the damn show. Like Wheeler's accent, or in a few hours the sun will rise. You know, it has some sort of connection to the source material. Here, I swear, he completely spun an entire fictional video onto YouTube and then reacted to that shit in his mind. Like, it was playing in his head. It wasn't in front of his eyes, because what the fuck he's talking about isn't what the fuck happened. And now he made up a video that wasn't in front of his eyes and is making a parody of that. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, these jokes have nothing to do with the video. This isn't even a parody. This is just someone losing their mind.
This is who I am. Why are you being racist against me?
And, oh, there was another one, racist. If you say racist in a joking way, you can say, Black Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter or whatever lives matter in a joking way, triggered, feminism, feminazi, you know, you can say whatever the fuck, men's rights activist, misogynist, misandrist, what the fuck else? You could use the word, what was the word that I used? I said that they were using micro-expressions. You can use microaggression. Any of these words get automatic laughs, even though I have never seen a person laugh from any of these jokes. I was watching the Young Turks, and what's her name? Anna was like, "Oh my god, are you triggered? Are you triggered?" And nobody laughed. No one laughs at this shit, and people keep making the jokes. I don't understand. Like, it's just fucking stupid.
Can I go?
And that's the end. Okay, so another point I need to make real quick, because are we really going to listen to this guy? I'm sorry, Ethan, but I'm pretty sure that you are almost the last fucking person on this entire planet who can talk about how annoyed you are with BuzzFeed doing videos on periods when you make disgusting ass videos all the fucking time. And don't give me that, well, that's a joke. Because this proves that there is a stigma, obviously, an unjust one. Because you know how you want to make the comparison to shit? First of all, okay, so here we go with this little rant, you guys, before I leave, and you can all go back to your day for those of you who stuck around. First of all, this shit is as dumb as when Mr. fucking Repsion wanted to make the damn joke about, or, like, I guess it was a joke. He was really fucking mad, as usual. And it was some chick on, like, Instagram or something, and she had a little dot of blood on her pants, and they tried to censor that off of her. Maybe it was on Twitter. There were complaints about it. She might have complained about it. Somebody complained about it. And he also compared it to poop. So, second of all, why the fuck are all these people comparing it to poop? It's not poop. Women poop too. That's not a good comparison. Both men and women poop. And with periods, you said it yourself. That's something that women deal with that men don't have to deal with. And you don't just bleed into the toilet. You have to bleed into something because you're bleeding constantly throughout the day over a period of several days. So, that's, to compare it to poop is completely insane. And you know what Mr. Epstein is like, do you want to see my asshole with the corn and all the shit in it and the da-da-da-da-da-da-da? Like, that's not the same as seeing blood. Like, he was talking about seeing blood in a picture. But if you see actual blood, the point that they're making is that if you saw blood on a guy's butt, that would be okay if, like, let's say he cut his butt under his pants and there's a photo. But if a woman has a little bit of blood from her period, that's an issue. I can understand why people have an issue with that. Like, it's not something that I'm going to stay up at night and complain about because I just don't care enough about it. But it's a legitimate argument, period. Objectively, it's a legitimate argument. And he got so mad from something that has nothing to do with him. It doesn't affect his life in any sort of way. He had to make a whole video about it and compare it to shit. Second of all, moving on from that shit, when you look at the angry video game nerd, he makes shit jokes all the time. So you can't even use the shit comparison on that front either. Because imagine if there was a woman imagine in an alternate universe, if we were able to look through some sort of like lens into an alternate universe where the angry video game nerd was a woman and she did the period jokes every single time he did a shit joke. And like dumped her period blood over everything with little chunks of like blood clots and shit. Just like how he'll put like corn in there. He even made a video like showing how he uses chunky peanut butter and chocolate and stuff to make it. Or he did like the little doo-doo balls from the bunny rabbit. And he's made so many different types of shit with like oatmeal and all this other stuff. Or like how he put diarrhea in a fucking pink bag and slammed it over the killer's head. Like, you know, all that stuff is fine. Everyone will laugh at all that stuff. But if you make the same jokes about periods, people have an issue with it because there is a stigma. Same thing with, nobody's saying, oh, hide that shit. Yes, some people might not like those jokes, but there's not enough stigma. It's not the same type of stigma. Because everybody understands what shit is. Everyone understands what piss is. Or like how I Hate Everything made fake throw up that looked very real and put it in a toilet. And some people had an issue with it. But some people were okay with it. Those same people who were okay with that would have an issue with the fucking periods. How can you sit here and watch someone like the angry video game nerd? How can you sit here and watch someone like Ethan make these disgusting jokes where he's like eating salad with ranch and chewing on it and spitting it out and chewing it back up again and going all the time, and like the thing with like that air spray for the keyboard, and he's got like nacho cheese all over it, and he's like eating his fingers, and it's just fucking disgusting, and people can watch that and that's fine. All that's fine. But somebody just making non-humorous and just like lighthearted videos about mentioning periods to try to normalize it in their own way, how can that make you so upset? You are the last person on earth who can be upset by disgusting videos. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This whole video is shit. It's okay if you don't like the way that somebody gets a message across. If you want to deal with that in a constructive way, you can even make it humorous. If you want to deal with it in a constructive way. People have done it before. People do it all the time. But he made no legitimate arguments. He didn't parody anything but what was in his own fucking imagination. And by the end of it, your own wife said it herself that she has issues with it. Your own wife said that she's felt like she's had to shame herself for her period, or she feels like she's had to hide it. That's the word people use. This is just so fucking stupid. This is really fucking stupid, and I already know. I don't need to see any likes. I don't need to see any comments. I'm not watching this video on YouTube. I just don't like supporting people who make shit that I don't support. You know, I don't need to see the comments and the likes to know that there's a lot of people who would agree with that or find this funny in some kind of way. And it's honestly sad, because he completely blew everything out of proportion and spun it so hard to the point where it was something completely different than what they were even talking about in the video. So anyways, I'm finished with this. I don't have much else to say. So I might have forgot some shit. It doesn't fucking matter. This video is just a bunch of BS. It's just a bunch of BS, and it's just people getting offended for no reason. I'm pretty sure if men can joke about their fucking prostate exam every 5 fucking seconds, making the same damn fucking joke every time. I went to the prostate exam. They stuck their finger in my butt. Whoa, doc, I don't know you like that. I feel like I just got raped. Ooh, that didn't feel good. They can make that joke every time. Everyone's okay with that. But God forbid a woman makes a joke about her period. You know, or we can all watch The Angry Video Game Nerd and laugh at that shit. And he's literally shitting on everything and throwing up on the shit. But God forbid someone wants to not jokingly talk about their fucking period. And it's, oh my God, they deserve to be in jail. I honestly believe some of that shit was projection. Nobody was trying to imprison anyone's thoughts in that video, but he was doing it to them. No one shamed anyone for any thoughts. He made that up. But he shamed that chick for every little thing that she said. Can you allow someone to have a fucking conversation instead of cutting off legitimate arguments from a certain type of people right here, and then make a fucking joke about jizz instead? Could you not do that if you actually want to have a serious discussion? Where's your serious fucking discussion? You make other serious discussions. You make other videos with serious topics. Where's your video about this? If you actually want to see one, why not fucking make it? You have a big platform. If you want something to change, why don't you do something about it, motherfucker? So I'm finished here. I'll see you guys some other time. And I'm going to move back to some more lighthearted and artsy type of shit for my next video. I hope you guys have a nice day. And I'm done.